This is Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate, the podcast where we cover home buying, home selling, home improvement tips and ideas, market trends and developments, and investing in real estate. If you own real estate in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, or want to own real estate here, then you're in the right place. Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate is hosted by Blake Watson, a real estate agent and investor in Tennessee and Georgia.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Chattanooga Real Estate. I'm Blake Watson with Epique Realty, and whether you already own your home or you're dreaming about owning one, today's episode is all about something that affects your future more than almost anything else, and that is wealth. Now, I know the word wealth might sound big and intimidating, like it's only for hedge fund people or tech millionaires or billionaires, but let me give you a stat that might shift your perspective. Here's the statistic. The typical U.S. homeowner is 43 times wealthier than the typical U.S. renter. Wow, what a number. That's the actual number. According to the most recent Federal Reserve survey of consumer finance, the average homeowner has a net worth of about $430,000, while the average renter's net worth is just $10,000. So today we're digging into that number, and we're going to talk about why the gap is so large and how it plays out right here in Chattanooga. And we'll talk about whether buying a home really makes more sense than renting in today's market. And I talk with a lot of prospective clients who are thinking about buying a home in the future. Sometimes they're saving up for a down payment, sometimes they're waiting on interest rates to come down, and sometimes they're even hoping, just hoping, that home prices will fall. And while it's important to use wisdom in the purchase of a home, sometimes it may be more urgent simply to own your home so that you can begin building wealth. So let's start with the big deal. Home ownership builds wealth in a way renting simply doesn't. And that's not just something I say because I'm a realtor. It's a reality backed up by decades of data. A couple of years ago, homeowners were already ahead. In 2022, the median net worth of a homeowner was around $392,000, while the typical renter had just over $10,000. Now, fast forward to 2025, and that gap has only widened. Renter net worth hasn't changed much, and homeowners' net worth continues to grow. Why? Because home ownership benefits in two big ways. Number one, equity. Every month, a portion of a homeowner's mortgage goes toward paying down the loan and building ownership, also known as equity, in the property. Number two, appreciation. As home values go up, the value of that asset increases. Let's do it with simple numbers. Let's say you bought a home for $250,000 a few years back. If that home is now worth $350,000, you've gained nearly $100,000 in wealth. And most of that happened without you having to do anything besides make your monthly payment. Compare that to renting, where no matter how long you stay or how much the property grows in value, you don't own any of it. Your rent is gone at the end of the month. It's a cost, not an investment. Now let's bring this closer to home. What does all this mean here in Chattanooga? Well, Hamilton County homeowners received their new property tax appraisals in the mail this year, and tax assessor Marty Haynes said that the average value increase was 60% over the past 4 years in Hamilton County. And that's right in line with the price of houses over the past 4 years, about a 60% increase in value. That's a huge jump, and it's made homeowners here a lot wealthier, especially those who bought before the price increases really took off during the pandemic. At the same time, rents in Chattanooga have gone up by about 47% over the same period. Now, that's not just inflation. That's market demand, rising costs, and limited housing inventory that's all pushing prices up. So homeowners in Chattanooga have gained significant equity, while renters have simply paid more and more each year with nothing to show for it financially. Let's do some math here. If you bought a $250,000 home 4 years ago, and now it's increased by 60%, as it has on average in Hamilton County, it's now worth $400,000. And you have gained about $150,000 in equity. That's more than most people make in a year. And it's money you could eventually use for retirement, for college, or moving up to a larger home. Meanwhile, a renter paying $1,100 4 years ago might be paying $1,600 now. That's an extra $6,000 per year out of pocket and zero return. Those are the simple numbers, and it's what it looks like in Chattanooga. Buying a home right now isn't as easy as it used to be. We all know that. Mortgage rates are higher than they were a few years ago. They're hovering right under 7% these days. And with higher home prices, the monthly costs of owning a home are up as well. So is buying still worth it? Well, let's look at a typical $300,000 home in Chattanooga, or at least in the Chattanooga area. That's a pretty normal price for a starter home in our area. And I just checked the MLS, and there are over 800 homes available for $300,000 or less right now. Now, with a 20% down payment, that's $60,000 down payment, you'd be financing about $240,000. At today's interest rates, that's around 6 7/8%. Your monthly mortgage payment, that's just principal and interest, would be around $1,550. Then you add about $200 a month for property taxes and $150 a month for homeowners insurance, and your total monthly payment would come out to about $1,900. Now compare that to renting. Right now, the median rent in Chattanooga is around $1,500 a month, give or take, depending on whether you're in an apartment, a duplex, or a single-family home. It may be higher or lower, of course. But let's go with $1,500 a month. So yes, owning a $300,000 home might cost about $400 more per month than renting a similar property. But here's the key difference. That extra $400 a month is building wealth. Part of your mortgage payment is going toward your principal, which is like a savings account that grows over time. And if your home value increases even 3 to 5% a year, which is pretty typical, your equity grows even faster. Meanwhile, what about that $1,500 in rent? Well, that keeps on going out the door every single month. Now, those are the numbers, and numbers are certainly important, but homeownership isn't just about math. It's also about lifestyle. Owning a home gives you stability. You're not subject to a landlord raising your rent or selling the property while you're still living there. You know where you'll be a year from now, and your kids know where they'll be going to school. It also gives you freedom. If you want to paint the walls bright blue, well, go for it. Nobody's going to stop you. You want to build a patio or plant a garden? You don't need anyone's permission. Your home reflects you, and that means something. And homeownership connects you to your community. Studies show that homeowners are more likely to vote in local elections, support neighborhood events, and invest time in making their streets and parks better. When you own your home, you're not just passing through, you're putting down roots. There's also a sense of pride that comes with ownership. I've seen it time and time again. People who maybe never even imagined that they could be homeowners, they walk through the front door of their first home and their whole posture changes. It's not just a building, it's now their home. It's a place to build memories, maybe have a family and grow old. So yes, the financial case is strong, but the emotional and psychological benefits, well, they are just as real as the money. Now, I know you might be thinking this all sounds great, but you know what, Blake? I am not in a place to buy right now. And I get that. It's okay. Not everyone is ready at the same time, and not everyone should buy a house just because someone says it's a good investment. Maybe you're still saving for a down payment, and maybe your job situation isn't stable yet. You're going to need both of those in place. Or maybe you just aren't ready for the responsibility of home ownership, and that's perfectly valid. But even if you're not buying tomorrow, just understanding how wealth builds through ownership can help you start planning for the future. Because here's the thing, that wealth gap we talked about at the beginning, it doesn't exist because homeowners are smarter or that they're luckier. It exists because the system is set up for ownership to generate equity and for renting to generate, well, more rent payments. That's the reality. So if you're renting right now, but homeownership is your goal, start preparing. Track your spending, work on your credit, learn about what loans and assistance programs are available. You should listen to back episodes of this podcast. They're full of information about buying a home. Talk to professionals you trust. The sooner you start, the closer you'll be to turning those rent checks into mortgage payments and those payments into long-term wealth. So what did we learn today? Well, homeownership is still the most reliable path to wealth in America. And the average homeowner has 43 times the net worth of the average renter, and that gap is growing. Here in Chattanooga, rising home values have handed homeowners tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars in equity over the last few years. Yes, owning does cost more up front, but it pays off over time. And the benefits go far beyond money. Homeownership offers stability, control, connection, and pride of ownership. So wherever you are in your real estate journey, if you own your home, you're renting, maybe you want to own a home, well, I hope today's episode gave you something to think about. And I'm Blake Watson, agent with Epique Realty. I would be glad to talk to you about homeownership and how you can start on your path to building wealth through real estate. My mobile phone is 423-315-1815. My brokerage office phone is 888-893-3537. You can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn as Blake Watson and on Instagram as Rock and Roll Blake. My website is @homechattanooga.com. And if this podcast has been helpful, well, please share this podcast with a friend and follow this podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. And until next time, I wish you all the best in your real estate journey.